we welcome the dignitaries amongst us. तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट बजती रहनी चाहिए. We have eminent personalities with us today. A very good morning to all present here. On behalf of Department of Commerce, National Postgraduate College, I am honored to welcome you to the 3-day international conference being organized from 5th to 7th October. The dignitaries on the dais, our esteemed guests, delegates, colleagues and dearest students, we are very grateful that you have graced us with your presence. This international conference is all the more special because currently our college is in its 50th year and we are amidst the celebration of our Golden Jubilee. We at National PG have a history of empowering the youth through quality education and all-round personality development. This conference is a testament to the fact that we will continue to spearhead meaningful causes and bring together luminous minds for constructive brainstorming. Now, before I mention the theme of the international conference, I wish to highlight the glorious heritage of our nation. We celebrate not just the living, but also pay our respects to our ancestors. We are in the midst of the very pious days called Pitra Paksh. This is a 16-day celebration whereby we offer our tributes to our forefathers who have raised us. However, in the true essence of Sanatan Dharma, nature has been considered the true provider, the bestower of nourishment, the giver, the mother who sustains life on earth. It is only befitting that we preserve and respect her. Even in our scriptures, we have given a lot of importance to a peaceful coexistence among nature and mankind. मत्स्य पुराण का एक श्लोक है, दश कूप समावापी, दश वापी समुद्र, दश हृदय समः पुत्रो, दशो पुत्र समुद्रमा. 10 कुओं के बराबर एक बावली होती है, 10 बावलियों के बराबर एक तालाब होता है, 10 तालाबों के बराबर एक पुत्र होता है और 10 पुत्रों के बराबर एक वृक्ष होता है. अर्थात एक वृक्ष हमारा भरण पोषण वैसे ही करता है जैसे 10 पुत्र करते हैं. Thus, our scriptures have equated planting one tree as being equivalent to raising 10 sons. The theme of our conference is sustainability and social entrepreneurship, building a better India Vision 2050. This theme was the brainchild of our Honorable Manager, Sir, Shri Ujjwal Raman Singh, Sir. May we have a huge round of applause for Sir. Thank you so much, Sir, for coming up with a theme which is the need of the hour. We hope that in the next 3 days we engage in meaningful dialogues and presentation with which we can better not just our country but the whole world. May I now invite the dignitaries on the dais to kindly light the lamp to mark an auspicious beginning of the international conference. We beckon Goddess Saraswati to bless the gathering as we embark on a 3-day journey of learning. विद्या की देवी माँ सरस्वती से हम यही कामना करते हैं कि हम सदा प्रगति के पथ पर अग्रसर रहें. I now invite Prabnoor to render a prayer.
हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ. हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ. तू स्वर की देवी, संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा, हर गीत तुझसे. तू हर शब्द तेरा, हर गीत तुझसे। हम हैं अकेले, हम हैं अधूरे, तेरी शरण में हमें प्यार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। मुनियों ने समझी है, गुनियों ने जानी, वेदों की भाषा, पुराणों की वाणी। मुनियों ने समझी है, गुनियों ने जानी, वेदों की भाषा, पुराणों की वाणी। हम भी तो समझे, हम भी तो जाने, विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। तू श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे, हाथों में वीणा मुकुट सर पे साजे। तू स्वर की देवी कमल पे विराजे, हाथों में वीणा मुकुट सर पे साजे। मन से हमारे मिटा के अंधेरा, मन से हमारे मिटा के अंधेरा, हमको उजालों का संसार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ।
Thank you, Prabhu, and a very good morning to each and everyone present here. Let me take this opportunity to welcome all the dignitaries amongst us. And first and foremost, we welcome Shri Asim Arun Ji, Minister of State and Social Welfare, Independent in Charge, and also the Member of Legislative Assembly. Please give him a huge round of applause. And I may request our Honorable and Respected Manager, Sir, Shri Ujjwal Raman Singh, Sir, to please welcome Sir with a memento, bouquet and a shawl. A huge round of applause for Shri Asim Arun Ji, who has devoted us a precious time to be here with us. Sir also has scheduled assignments, but we are very thankful that Sir is here today with us. Thank you, sirs. I may now welcome Professor I.D. Gupta, sir, former Professor, Department of Economics, University of Lucknow, and I may request Head of Department, Professor Jyoti Bhargav ma'am, to please welcome sir with a memento, bouquet and a shawl. Huge round of applause for Professor I.D. Gupta, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. It is an immense honor and pride for all of us to have amongst us our very honorable and respected manager, sir, Shri Ujjwal Raman Singh, sir, and I may request our respected principal, sir, Professor Devendra Kumar Singh ji, to welcome sir with a memento, bouquet and a shawl. Thank you, and in the meanwhile, I may request our esteemed dignitary all the way from Uzbekistan, Dr. Dilfuza Jabarova, to please come up and sit on the podium, on the dais. She is all the way from Uzbekistan, so I request everyone to give a huge round of applause to ma'am. We heartily and warmly welcome you here in our National PG College. And I may request our respected principal, sir, to please welcome ma'am with a memento, bouquet and shawl. round of applause, people. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. It is an esteemed honor for all of us to have with us the backbone of our institution, our very honorable and respected Principal Sir, Professor Devendra Kumar Singh, and I may request Professor Ramakrishna Sir, Head Department of Hindi, to please welcome Sir with a bouquet, memento and shawl.
तो बैठे हेलो हाँ
And last but not the least, we warmly and heartily welcome our Head of Department, Professor Jyoti Bhargav ma'am, whose untiring efforts have made this conference a success for us. And I may request Dr. Rakesh Pathak sir, Head Department of Physical Education, to please welcome ma'am with the memento bouquet and shawl. With a bouquet. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Shri Asim Arun ji, a member of Uttar Pradesh Legislative Assembly and the Minister of State and Social Welfare Independent Charge. Sir left IPS in 2022 and began his political career with Bharatiya Janata Party. He is a man of courage who does not run away but remains at his post and fights against his enemies. A courteous and a courageous politician. I will now invite Sir to bless all of us with his words.
Thank you very much. It is my proud privilege to be with young minds, with academic minds this morning. And what better topic than sustainability and social entrepreneurship with the objective of how we are going to see India in 2050. At the outset, first of all, I must congratulate each organizer for selecting such a relevant and such a useful topic, and I am really grateful for having this opportunity to be with our children this morning. Thank you very much. Our special guest today, Dr. Dilruza Jabarova ji, welcome to India and Lucknow. We really hope to learn more from you. Your experience and your academic excellence will really help us. Professor I.D. Gupta ji, Department of Economics, Lucknow. Sir has head with this department. Shri Ujjwal Raman Singh ji, our manager, but more than that, a very close, very old friend, and it's always a pleasure for me, a privilege for me to step in and be a part of one of Ujjwal's initiative. Thank you very much, Ujjwal ji. Professor Devendra Kumar Singh ji, Professor Jyoti Bhargav ji. My association with this institution is very intense. My father, unfortunately, who is no more in this world, Shri Ram Arun ji, he had a close association with the National PG College and the entire trust for a long time. So whenever I get invited, whenever I am able to come back to National PG College, I am able to relive his association with this august institution. The topic for today is extremely important. I am sure there will be a lot of academic interaction on that, but since we just beginning, I may like to place my views on the table, how I perceive economic and social sustainability. From an academic perspective, from an objective perspective, I think this challenge has faced all the governments for a long time, how we can bridge the economic gap, how the rich and poor should not be far apart. Ideally, there should be complete equality. If that is not possible, how can this bridge be gapped as much as possible? And when we bridge the economic gap, we also bridge the social gap. The boldest step ever taken in the world was, I think, the Marxist thought. And Karl Marx, in his writings, in his views, tried to establish that public ownership of property will work, individual ownership of property is bound to be problematic, it's bound to create social divides. So a whole range of innovations happened after that. Unfortunately, they did not succeed, and here we are looking at the solution once again. So now we have to look at solutions within the market economy paradigm. I may like to place two ideas which I've been studying of late, particularly as Minister for Social Welfare. The Indian concept of social justice has mostly revolved on reservation in government jobs, reservation in government education. But now things have moved forward, far forward. And I may like to give you an example of what the Tata Group has done or is striving to do. We have the Telco factory here, the factory where Tata trucks are manufactured. Now, Tata decided to bridge the social gap by what they call a vendor development program. Now, in this, they develop vendors, companies which are owned by members of the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribe, which they call historically disadvantaged communities. They train them, they tell them how to supply ancillaries, how to manufacture ancillaries, and you'll be, I'm sure, excited to note that when a Tata truck rolls out of Lucknow plant, 22.5% of the components are sourced through such vendors. So this is not job reservation, this is not reservation for vendorship as well, but this is a vendor development program where they train the people, but they also have conditions. Tata would not accept a substandard product. So the product has to match their requirements, and then they would accept that. This is one example of how affirmative action is going to work in future. This is a term which the global community is accepting now. So in India too, affirmative action is an important movement. We have to see how we are going to add to this. And I will give you another example, and the last example of how market economy can result in better sustainability. Again, how to bridge the gap. There is a concept of a B Corp. Now B Corp, if you Google that, you will find a lot of literature on that. You will find a great Wikipedia page about that as well. B Corp is a arrangement built by the industry itself, and there are a number of rules there where they define what sustainability is. In this case, the biggest example which I can quote here of what B Corp philosophy is that a B Corp is a corporation, a company where the highest paid employee earns only 4 times the lowest paid employee. So for example, there's a entry level job in India in a company, and that person earns 15,000 rupees. So the CEO or the highest paid employee would earn only 4 times, that is 60,000 rupees. So if the top managers feel like increasing the salary, they cannot. If they choose to, then they must increase the salaries of the entry-level jobs as well. So this is a self-imposed rule. There's no legislation to that effect. But these are very interesting examples which the world is experimenting with today. I'm sure many such examples, many such ideas will flow in the conference. We have our academic luminaries from across the world, from across the country. I'm sure the experience will open up more ideas. And I must also remember here, we are observing, or we are trying to enter what Pradhan Mantri Modi ji has called the Amrit Kal. So Amrit Kal has to be Amrit Kal for everyone. If UP's target of achieving the $1 trillion economy goal is achieved by the wealthiest 10% of the population, then we haven't done well. This economic growth must be equitably distributed. If $1 trillion dream means that every household income must increase by 4 times, then that has to be achieved. We have to set forth in that direction. And that's what Government of Uttar Pradesh is doing very consciously. As you will know, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas is not just a slogan. It is a development philosophy. Everyone must be together, and together we will prosper. That is the philosophy on which the Bharatiya Janata Party led UP government, central government is working. We are looking at fresh ideas. I will be here only for the opening element. Thereafter, I would have to leave, unfortunately. I would have loved to sit down and listen through all the deliberations, but that would not be possible. So I request Ujjwal ji if I can have a brief subsequently on what transpired, which ideas we can implement immediately or later. And that is, I think, the crux of development. Amrit Kal is going to depend on how academicians and practitioners, one of which is people in government, are we able to work together? The kind of research which will flow today, the kind of ideas which will flow today, must, some of them, get translated into action through government policies. So I'll be very happy to receive such inputs. I will take them to the Honorable CM. If they belong to my ministry alone, I'll be too happy to implement them. So I congratulate all of you again for this lovely conference, for being a part of it, for making me a part of it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. My good wishes. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. We understand that you have a very, very busy schedule, and you managed to take time out for blessing the conference. Can we have a huge round of applause once more for sir?
Thank you so much, sir. कहते हैं हर बात जुबान से हम इशारे नहीं करते, आसमान पर चलने वाले जमीन से गुजारा नहीं करते, हर हालात बदलने की हिम्मत है हमें, वक्त का हर फैसला हम गवारा नहीं करते. With these words, I may now invite our very honorable and respected manager, sir, Shri Ujjwal Raman Singh ji, for the welcome address.
Our chief guest, Honorable Aseem Arun ji, special guest, Dr. Gupta ji, Principal of the college, Dr. Deven Kumar Singh ji, Jyoti Bhargoji, Head of the Department, Commerce Department, other distinguished guests, all the teachers, and the students. In this international conference, first I would like to thank Aseem ji for giving his valuable time and the input and the thought which is propelling this international conference in times to come for another 2 days. We would be discussing the various inputs that he has given, very thoughtful one, and I would again like to thank him for the last minute invitation that we gave him, and he was gracious enough to come to the college despite his compelling circumstances in which he was in. He had to go to other places. I would like to again thank him for that. He and his father had a very long association with the society, and the valuable contribution that they have made, I think is significant, that the society and the college is grateful to both of them. And I don't know how many people that they know that he has been an IPS officer and he has resigned from the service and has joined the cause of public service, and he's in the domain of public service. But he has a distinguished career as a police officer, one of the brightest officers of the Indian Police Service of the UP cadre he had been. So he is here with us, and it is our good luck that he has given us the time. I would like to welcome in this international conference on sustainability and social entrepreneurship, building a better India. It is an honor to stand before you today for this significant event hosted by Department of Commerce, National NPGC. Sustainability and social entrepreneurship are not just buzzwords, as been said by the Honorable Chief Guest. They are vital pillars for a brighter future in India. We look ahead to 2050. It is imperative and envision a nation that is economically prosperous, socially equitable, and environmentally responsible. It is all very important that we encompass all the three components to build a better and sustainable India. I want that whenever I go to other places, the way environmentally the country that is bleeding, we should look at that aspect. Socially also, we should encompass each and every section of the society. It should be an inclusive society, not an exclusive one. I would like to stress on the point of sustainability. I would like to on the sustainability part, we must commit ourselves to sustainable practices. This means using our resources wisely, reducing waste, and protecting our natural environment. Sustainability isn't an option, it is a necessity for survival and well-being for future generation. It is very important to all of us. I think we should ponder, we should think, and we should deliberate on this. The more we'll deliberate, the better outcome is going to come on this. The social entrepreneurship is very important. Social entrepreneurs play a pivotal role in addressing our society challenges. They use innovative approaches to tackle issues like poverty, education, and healthcare. Encouraging and supporting these individuals and organizations is crucial. Vision for 2050 is very important. We need to look beyond short-term goals and plan for a long-term vision. 2050 calls for a holistic approach. When our economic growth is inclusive, our society is just, and our environment is preserved. Since the Minister is running out of the time, in conclusion, this conference provides a platform for all of us to come together, share ideas, and share a course towards a better India by 2050. Let us be inspired, let us collaborate, and let us take action. Because without any action, because without any concrete steps, nothing is going to happen. So I wish that we should take some positive and as has been rightly said, some affirmative action so that something for the better is going to change. Together we can build a more sustainable, equitable and prosperous India for generations to come. Thank you, and let the conference deliberate on the subject, on the topic which we have chosen, and let our the people from acclaimed background who are coming from all over the country and from abroad and from the country like Ukraine and Uzbekistan to deliberate on these points. And I wish all the success, and especially to the team of Department of Commerce under the able guidance of the principal, Dr. Deven Kumar Singh, Dr. Jyoti Bhargav, and everybody inclusive. When we are thinking about the inclusive, the Department of Commerce is also inclusive. It talks about everyone. Let us deliberate, and thank you again, the Honorable Minister, for coming to the college. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you once again, sir. May we have a huge round of applause for sir. I now invite Head of our department, Dr. Jyoti Bhargav ma'am, to kindly come and unveil the theme of the conference, the sub-themes of the conference, and the purpose as to why we have chosen this theme. Please welcome ma'am with a huge round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Professor Gupta, dear Dilfuza, respected Professor Salil Chandra sir, Dr. K.K. Shukla sir, Bajpayee sir, Iviana ma'am, my dear colleagues, and my very dear students. Often my dad used to say, the best time to plant a tree is now. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time to plant the tree is now. Because until and unless we take action, we will not be able to culminate anything in words. Sustain or bear pain. The painful memories of Joshi Mat. I would like the PPT to start, please. Yeah. This is only to reiterate and remember what we do to nature and then how it retaliates. So the memories of Joshimath, Kedarnath tragedy of landslides, or of the rising challenges of urban floods, or those terrifying tremors of the earthquake. The world is witnessing a depletion of natural resources, environmental degradation and hazards, which in further being catalyzed by social inequality, casteism and intolerance. So it's a war between nature and further precipitated by man-made problems. In this background, we have to talk about sustainability. Closer home, India faces unique challenges in the quest for sustainable development. Environmental degradation, rapid urbanization, unchecked use of natural resources, other precipitating reasons have all resulted in deforestation, soil erosion, loss of biodiversity, and ever-growing population places immense pressure on its already limited natural resources. This again reiterates why we should talk about sustainability. 2 decades of unprecedented growth have greatly improved welfare by bringing down the poverty rate from 42% in 1990 to 14% in 2017, but not without a cost, not without a significant toll on the environment. About 13 million hectares of forest were lost annually between 2000 and 2010. Last 50 years have witnessed a 3 times increase in water withdrawals. इतना पानी खींच लिया, leading to water scarcity. 550 plus billion tons of carbon was emitted globally during the decade. So what we are inhaling, and yet a substantial percentage of population, this was all in the wake of advancement, and yet a substantial percentage of population goes without access to sanitation, electricity, or without safe, clean drinking water. And to top it all, poverty and unemployment continue to plague the country. It is in this light that the socially vibrant and a holistically relevant theme was chosen for the 3-day international conference on sustainability and social entrepreneurship, Building a Better India Vision 2050. The government has been proactive and is committed to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals as a signatory to the transformative agenda of the member nations of the G20. The SDGs are based on the principle of universality and aim to ensure that no one is left behind in the development process. Growth through sustainable practices, resources being used efficiently, and renewable energy will pave a long way towards sustainability. Green growth envisions a future with environmentally sustainable and equitable economic growth, resource security, healthy environment, and restored ecosystems with rich ecology and biodiversity. So the conference will be talking about not only climate change but also economic sustainability, human sustainability, and inventive sustainability. The Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi launched Mission Life, Lifestyle for Environment in October 22, acknowledging climate change as the main challenge humankind faces today. The Honorable PM had then underscored that climate action and the move towards greater sustainability has to go beyond policy making to involve individuals, families, and communities. Gradually, we tend to see that there will be a life impact on sustainable movements. For example, a cloth bag instead of a plastic bag can save up to 370 million tons of solid waste. Secondly, turning off the running taps can save up to 9 trillion items of 9 trillion liters of water. Welcome, sir, once again. I just did not see that side, I'm sorry. So the sustainable practices. Now, what are we doing in the college? To enlighten all of you, I'm sure you all know. We have the rainwater harvesting system in our college, whereby we try to conserve the water and catch it where it falls. We also have 3 types of waste which we segregate and then try to properly shell them off. Today you must have noticed that we are not using plastic iCards. Instead, our students have created eco-friendly iCards by treating the people leaves and painting them. The diaries and the pens have been made by the students themselves. The pens have been made by paper, and once the refill is over, we can sow these pens in the pot and you will have beautiful rose plants. The iCard that the participants are getting, they have been used out of seed paper. Please do not throw the iCard. Sow them because you will get tulsi out of it. The diaries have been made out of reusable cloth. The concept of reuse and reproduce has a very significant role in sustainable development. Earlier, the concept of use and throw was being implemented. Today, we are using and reusing. In the end, I would only like to say that we will be delivering on almost all aspects. In our technical session 4, we have invited entrepreneurs who are trying to bring about a change through sustainable practices. It is for every one of us to learn, because if we don't learn today, nature has other ways to teach us. I only hope that the deliberations that we will be conducting, we've had participation of more than 15 countries, online and offline, UK, USA, Thailand, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, so on. More than 25 colleges or 30 colleges have contributed, scholars have contributed their papers pan-India. So I am sure that the theme was so dear and so compelling that the participants could not stop from participating. It is an earnest request that every action that we do should be well thought out and towards a sustainable environment. Once we have concluded the 3-day conference, let our thought process not end there. This conference is a beginning and not the end. Thank you so much.
May I now invite the keynote speaker for the morning, Professor I.D. Gupta sir, to kindly address the gathering. Before that, Professor Gupta is former professor of economics of Lucknow University. He got his master's and PhD in economics from Banaras Hindu University in 1964 and 1967 respectively. He has taught economics in University of Delhi, BHU and University of Lucknow and has a prolific career spanning more than 30 years. He has written 3 books and his papers form part of nearly 12 other books. He has published more than 60 papers in economics in reputed journals of economics. He has worked on environmental issues and sustainable development for more than 17 years. His paper on Vedic model of sustainable development was presented in the Indian Economic Conference in BHU in 2004 in the International Congress of Environment Research, Mauritius 2010. Professor Gupta is one of the founder members of Uttar Pradesh Uttarakhand Economic Association. He has been editor of UPUEA Economic Journal. He has also been the president of UPUEA Economic Conference in IIT Roorkee in 2015. Currently, he is engaged in writing books and papers on current challenges before the Indian economy, society and the world. Sir, we are indeed very humbled by your luminous presence. आपकी तारीफ में कुछ भी कहना सूर्य के समान दिए, सूर्य के सामने दिए जलाना जैसा होगा. ये हमारा परम सौभाग्य है कि आप हमारे साथ हैं. Can we please welcome Professor Gupta with a resounding applause?
Thank you, Radhika. But before Uncle comes, I'll just take 2 seconds. I wish to welcome Dr. Teresa Jacob from London, Mr. Prabhanshu Mittal from UK, Mr. Dhimat, what is that, Ganatra from Dubai, and Tushar Mapari. सर, आप लोग ऑनलाइन जुड़े हैं, ये हमारा सौभाग्य है. 3 दिनों तक लगातार आप लोगों के साथ चर्चा चलती रहेगी. थैंक यू सो मच सर.
I feel honored that I am invited here in this college, and an international conference is being held here. I am thankful to Jyoti Bhargav and the manager of this institution and the principal. They have put this college to a height, and it has got the NAC accreditation also. I come to the topic. I was suggested that the conference is on sustainability and social entrepreneurship. भाषा अंग्रेजी सही है या हिंदी चलेगी? We are at the pinnacle of development at present. We move on we fly on the jets. Our rockets are going to the moon and to the Mars. And many achievements technology had provided. But at the same time, it appears that we have reached a dangerous point where everything is going to vanish in no time. And this is because of the development model that we have chosen after the Industrial Revolution, which occurred in 1800, in the 18th century. I feel there are two threats to the world community, to us. One is a nuclear warfare. If any of the authoritarian state choose for a nuclear warfare, everything will be banished. And the second is the global warming. Global warming is and climatic change is a threat of the day, and it appears that if we don't take care of these things, we will all vanish in no time. Why this is happening? Why this is happening? What was the reason? That is the topic of my presentation today. The world today is at the crossroads where the industrial development model brought by the Industrial Revolution in the Western European countries more than 200 years back had put the planet Earth and its atmosphere at a critical juncture. The uncontrolled use of natural resources of the earth and their destruction for the sake of high economic growth and development, whereas brought the economies of the West to an unprecedented level of economic opulence. It also provided a very high living standards. It has also polluted the environment to such an extent, alarming level, that the natural order is vastly disturbed, and the life of human beings and their creatures has come to a level of extinction. We see an overload on this planet Earth. Our population of the world population is today more than 8 billion. This is the overload on the systems. World population has grown from 2 billion in 100 to 8 billion over a period of time of 100 years. Even the Indian population at the time of independence in 1947 was 330 millions. Now it is 1.4 billion plus. So 4 times our population have gone up. So you can see the burden on of the world population growth and the population growth in India. That is why the problems are very complicated today. We have reached a high level of economic growth. We attained a growth rate of 7 to 8% to 9% after 1930s, 1991 in 30 years. But the problems have multiplied. We see vast income inequality in the country. Even the poverty is sizable. But the more difficult problem is income inequality. After 1991, when the government put its baton to the private sector under the pressure of globalization, what happened? Inequality is rising. It is sure that with the high growth rate in the economy in the last 25-30 years, we have achieved a reduction, sizable reduction in the poverty level. It was more than 40%. It has come down to 13%. It is a sizable reduction in poverty levels. But you see at the ground level, when you move in the villages, when you move in the places where the poor people live, you go to the shanties, you go to those places where the poor live. How do you say that the country has developed and we have achieved development? So basic factor is the load on this planet Earth is gone up. The world, I just a few minutes, in 1900, the world population was 1.6 billion. 1.6 billion. In 1804, it was just 1 billion. In 1800, it was just 1 billion. Could you imagine what was the India's population at the time of Akbar? What was the population size of India at the time of 5,000 years back when Mahabharat war took place? It was just 10 crores. The estimates say that the Indian population was just 10 crores. At the time of medieval period, it was also 10 crores. The population has increased after 1931. From 1 billion in 1804, in 123 years, the population doubled to 2 billion. In 1927, that it took 123 years for doubling the population from 1 billion to 2 billion. Then after 1927, in between 33 years only, the population doubled to 3 billion, that is in 1960. Then 1960, the world population was 3 billion. 300 करोड़ लोग थे यहाँ पे. And then in 1974, in just 14 years, we multiplied into the 4 billion. The students of economics know the name of Malthus and Ricardo. Malthus said that the men multiply. They multiply at the geometrical progression rate, but the resources, the food production multiplies at the arithmetical rate progression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Men multiply, and he at that point of time, that is 1779, he wrote the book, 1779, that their doomsday is coming. If the people don't behave, if the people will don't behave and don't restrain themselves, then what will happen? Natural disasters will come. We have seen the natural disaster in Shimla, in Uttarakhand. Natural disaster will come. Shimla was made for a few hundred people, for a few thousand people. And what is the population of Shimla today? What is the population? The persons who are going for Char Dham Yatra, they go for picnic. Today, they don't go for this. Our forefathers were going to Shimla, these places of pilgrimage. And you have seen in just few years back, what happened? What is happening in Uttarkashi? In those places, this is the overload factor. World population has multiplied. We have developed and we have achieved a height where achieved the height in every dimensions. In medical field, the MRI is there. So many new things are there. Now, when we were moving on the bullock cart, now we are moving the jet air, the spaces. So this development is spectacular. Never before in the history, the world has reached such a height of opulence and technological development. It is because of technological development we have reached to a such level of opulence. Our living standards have gone up. If you visualize this generation who are 40, 45 at this present time, they will find that at their childhood age, what was the state of economy in the country, what was the common man, how he was dealing, and now the middle class is more richer. Even Narasimha Rao said in that time that we have a middle class of 200 million people and foreign investors should come here. Now we see the malls. Now we see those malls in Lucknow around which just sprang up 10, 15 years back. We see the opulence. What is it we have it? Is it so that we have reached the danger point? We have reached the danger point. because the model of development that we have taken, came after the industrial revolution, and that industrial development model, when the country India gained freedom, Pandit Nehru opted for industrial development model because he said industrialization is the only way for development. Without industrialization, we cannot develop. Gandhi was opposed. Gandhi wanted a village economy, self-sustained village economy. But Gandhi's views couldn't prevail, and Nehru's views prevailed. And we moved on that path for the reason that those so-called developed regions have followed this path of industrial development, and their living standards have gone very high. Their income levels are very high because of industrial revolution. What were they doing? They were drawing resources from the nature. Forests were cut down. Things were taken out from the nature. Taken out. For more than 200 years, they have taken out the resources and the population was doubling from 1 billion to 2 billion to 4 billion to 7 billion to 8 billion. When it will stop? The projections are it will stop at the point of 10.4 billion. विश्व की जनसंख्या 10.4 बिलियन पर 2080 में स्टेबलाइज कर जाएगी 2080 and will stay there till 2100. What is the load on these resources? The development model have denuded our forests, taken away from our resources. This is not sustainable. This model is not sustainable and the world will not survive. I again say for two reasons. Either a nuclear war comes, the war is going on between Ukraine and Russia, and we don't know when this point will come when they will use the nuclear weapons. We are just wavering at this point. If some country thinks that we should use nuclear weapon, what will happen? We cannot imagine. And this war is prolonging on for more than 500 days. We don't know how long it will prolong. It is not just Ukraine and Russia. Who is behind Ukraine? It is a war between America and the Western countries and Ukraine. Find out who is behind this war. I am not going to deal with all those things. I am an economist. I am not going to deal with that. The fear of environmental damage motivated several studies. This fear came around, we realized by 1960s that the ozone layer is depleting. Because of this model we have taken, ozone layer is depleting, causing thereby tremendous damage to the planet. The fear for economic damage motivated several studies throughout the world. Perceptibly, the concern of sustainability started around this time when it was found that the pattern of economic development in the industrialized countries has led to depletion of non-renewable resources. These resources are non-renewable. आज कहते हैं कि जंगल कट रहे हैं, आप वृक्ष लगाइए. पहला शब्द यहाँ पर यही आया था. एक वृक्ष लगाना कितने फलदायक होता है, कितने पुण्य के बाद एक वृक्ष लगाइए. और अगर आपने लाखों वृक्षों को काट दिया है तो उसको डैमेज को कब पूरा करेंगे आप? Do you think? You just think about the present. You don't think about the past. You don't think about the future. You don't think about your future generations who are going to come here. Your sons and your daughters and your grandsons and granddaughters and their sons and daughters. What would be the world at that point of time? The United Nations conference was held in Stockholm. I say about 1960s. People got aware that something bad is going to happen, and it is happening. A United Nations conference was held in Stockholm to discuss the plans for environmental preservation. And it is said that in popularizing the concept of sustainable development, this conference played a significant role. The World Conservation Resource Strategy ICUN 1980 and the Earth Summit 1992 places additional emphasis on the concept. Here comes the concept of sustainable development. How this development could be sustained? The present level of development, how could it be sustained? We are talking only about economic growth and growth and growth, more growth and more growth. Is it desirable? No. In my thinking, more growth, higher growth, higher growth, higher growth, not desirable. We want happiness in life. We want peace in life. We want happiness for our children. We want happiness for the world population. Not just growth and growth, which is destructive ultimately. Think about that. The definition of development has gone ahead. From economic growth to human centric it has begun. Human happiness is more important. Human health is more important. It is now human centric, not just money centric. The former suggested that the maintenance of this, I am referring about this conference in 1980 and the Earth Summit 1982. They suggested that the maintenance of essential ecological processes and life support system, the preservation of genetic diversity preservation and the suitable utilization of species and ecosystems is needed to achieve sustainable development through the conservation of living resources. वर्ल्ड डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट ने बताया लाखों स्पीसीज एक्सटिंक्ट हो चुके हैं, लाखों स्पीसीज एक्सटिंक्ट हो चुके हैं और अब नहीं है, और तमाम चीज़ें जो है समाप्त हो चुकी हैं. द ब्रूंटलैंड रिपोर्ट पुश्ड फॉरवर्ड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ इंटरजनरेशनल सस्टेनेबिलिटी. जो आज हम सस्टेनेबिलिटी का कॉन्सेप्ट लाते हैं वो इंटरजनरेशनल सस्टेनेबिलिटी है कि जो हमें उपलब्ध है वो हमारे बाल बच्चों को भी उपलब्ध हो और उनके बाल बच्चों को भी उपलब्ध हो. दिस इज इंटरजनरेशनल इक्विटी एंड सस्टेनेबिलिटी. अकॉर्डिंग टू इट, सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट इज डेवलपमेंट दैट मीट द नीड्स ऑफ द प्रेजेंट without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. This is the concept of sustainable development provided by in the Brundtland report. It is now has become common. The World Development Report 1992 brought to the fore the species extinct are likely to be extinct in the near future if the current trend continues and care is not taken to sustain them. अगर ध्यान नहीं दिया गया इन रिसोर्सेज को संभालने के लिए तो क्या होगा नहीं. दिस ऑल्सो ब्रॉट द डिमांड फॉर लिमिट्स टू ग्रोथ. हमने अभी आपको कहा हायर एंड हायर ग्रोथ इज नॉट डिजायरेबल. द इंटेलेक्चुअल्स टॉक्ड अबाउट लिमिट्स टू ग्रोथ एंड जीरो और नेगेटिव पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ. दीज आर द टू फैक्टर्स. ग्रोथ मस्ट बी लिमिटेड, population must be limited. Without that, sustainability is not possible. Zero population growth rate. For the time being, it is being increasingly realized that the overload of population on the planet Earth, which is over 8 billion at present, 4 times the level of 1930, population of the world of 2 billion, is behind multifarious environmental problems of pollution, garbage dump, exhaustion of natural resources, flora and fauna destruction, fouling of atmosphere, and so on. There is an overload of greenhouse gases emissions throughout the countries of the world. I referred you about the Malthus and Ricardo. It is not that this problem of sustainability is a new problem. And we are thinking today about since 1960, even in the 18th century, 1779, historically the views of economists like about sustainability of growth have altered over time. While Malthus and Ricardo believed that supply side constraints would prevent sustainable economic growth, a more optimistic view prevailed by the end of the century. Malthus का ये कहना था कि men multiply, और चूंकि लॉ ऑफ डिमिनिशिंग रिटर्न्स लागू होता है, इस वजह से उत्पादन नहीं बढ़ सकता है। इसलिए अगर लोगों ने अपना रिस्ट्रेंट नहीं किया, पॉपुलेशन को बढ़ाने को रोका नहीं, तो नेचुरल डिजास्टर्स आएंगे। आपको मालूम होना चाहिए वो एक पादरी था, माल्थस एक पादरी था, धार्मिक आदमी था, उसने इस प्रकार की बातें कही, लेकिन माल्थस की बातें झूठी हो गई आगे चल करके। आफ्टर दी एज द रिजल्ट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसेस एंड द इंडस्ट्रियल रिवोल्यूशन, हाउएवर फॉलोइंग द ग्रेट डिप्रेशन, 1930s में जब ग्रेट डिप्रेशन आया और दुनिया में आर्थिक मंदी आई 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, इट इज कॉल्ड द ग्रेट डिप्रेशन। लाखों लाखों लोग बेरोजगार हो गए। अब आप समझ लीजिए ये किस समय की बात है, 1930। व्हाट वाज द साइज ऑफ वर्ल्ड पॉपुलेशन एट दैट टाइम? उस समय लाखों लोग बेरोजगार हो गए तमाम कंट्रीज में। इकोनॉमिक्स का एक प्रिंसिपल है, लॉ ऑफ डिमांड। प्राइसेस ज़्यादा होंगे तो डिमांड कम होगी, प्राइसेस कम होंगी तो डिमांड ज़्यादा होगी। दिस थियरी फेल्ड, इट इज द क्लासिकल थियरी। क्लासिकल थियरी फेल्ड। ये नहीं समझा सका कि प्राइसेस गिरते चले जा रहे हैं और डिमांड क्यों नहीं राइज हो रही है। एंड देयर केम्स द कीन्सियन रिवॉल्यूशन। इकोनॉमिक्स के स्टूडेंट जानते हैं अबाउट जॉन मेनार्ड कीन्स। जॉन मेनार्ड कीन्स ने जनरल थियरी लिखी, जनरल, और उसने ये बताया कि इट इज नॉट द सप्लाई साइड, इट इज द इनकम लेवल विच इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट, एग्रीगेट डिमांड इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट। अगर आपके जेब में पैसा नहीं है तो कोई चीज कितनी भी सस्ती हो आप क्या खरीदेंगे उसको आप। देयरफॉर इनकम जनरेशन, एग्रीगेट डिमांड को बढ़ाना ज़्यादा जरूरी है। और ये केवल प्राइवेट एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के ही रेलम की बात नहीं है, द गवर्नमेंट हैज़ टू टेक केयर ऑफ इट। और तब से उसने गवर्नमेंट को फार्मूला दिया, पम्प प्राइमिंग और डेफिसिट बजटिंग एंड डेफिसिट फाइनेंसिंग। और वही फार्मूला अभी भी लागू हो रहा है हर देशों में। जो यहाँ पर विकास होना है तो सरकार की जिम्मेदारी है लोगों को रोजगार दे, सरकार की जिम्मेदारी है लोगों को रोजगार दे, लोगों को एक लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड दे, एक फेयर लेवल ऑफ लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड देना चाहिए, ये सरकार की जिम्मेदारी है। आज के युवा वर्ग नाराज हैं कि सरकार रोजगार क्यों नहीं दे रही और हम क्यों बेरोजगार पड़े हैं। यूनिवर्सिटी से निकलने के बाद में 1 साल 2 साल 4 साल 6 साल नौकरी ढूंढते हैं, नहीं मिलती है, बहुत परेशान हैं और सब सरकार को दोष देते हैं। इज इट सर, क्या सरकार ही रिस्पॉन्सिबल है इसके लिए? आप नहीं रिस्पॉन्सिबल हैं। थिंक अबाउट इट। आई गिव यू सम पॉइंट, क्योंकि ये सेमिनार लंबा चलने वाला है। हम आपके सामने कुछ पॉइंट दे रहे हैं टू जस्ट पॉन्डर। इज इट द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट टू गिव यू एम्प्लॉयमेंट? व्हाट इज योर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी? आप ये भी पाते हैं कि जो इंजीनियरिंग ग्रेजुएट्स, जो मेडिकल ग्रेजुएट्स, जो तमाम ग्रेजुएट्स यूनिवर्सिटी से निकल रहे हैं, दे आर नॉट एम्प्लॉयबल। इनके पास लियाकत नहीं है कि इनको रोजगार दिया जा सके। दे आर नॉट एम्प्लॉयबल एंड दिस प्रॉब्लम आई एम फेसिंग while going to the civil services examination. I find the questions are there, our youths are unemployable. घटिया पढ़ाई हो रही है, केवल डिग्री बांट रहे हैं आप, योग्यता नहीं बांट रहे हैं, क्योंकि आपके पास योग्य टीचर नहीं है। और ऊपर से रिजर्वेशंस, वो बड़ा दूसरा डिबेट है, उस फील्ड में हम नहीं जाना चाहते हैं। बट आई फील पर्सनली देयर इज समथिंग रॉन्ग इन अवर टीचिंग सिस्टम with our students, and more than that with our teachers. Our educational institutions, they are not up to the mark. आप इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर जाइए, आपके जो प्राइमरी स्कूल हैं सरकार के चलाए आने वाले, कोई भी पढ़ा लिखा आदमी या कोई अनपढ़ आदमी अपने बच्चों को उस स्कूल में नहीं भेजना चाहता है, वो प्राइवेट स्कूल में भेजता है, क्योंकि उसके लड़के अच्छा पढ़ाई लिखाई करेंगे और अच्छा रोजगार पाएंगे और अच्छी जिंदगी बिताएंगे। They don't want to send their sons and daughters to the sarkari school. Why? They want quality education, even at a price. And at what price? Lakhs and lakhs of rupees. What is the fee in a private public school? It runs in thousands per month. I am deviating from my place. कितना समय और है? 15-20 मिनट और दे दो मुझे. I put up before you this problem of sustainability, and people are aware about this. Is it only economic sustainability? As suggested by Barbier, 1987, sustainable economic development is likely to require simultaneous amount of taken at least three systems. At least three systems, namely the biological system, the economic system and the social system. सस्टेनेबिलिटी का डिबेट 3 डायमेंशंस में जाता है. इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट, सोशल डेवलपमेंट एंड इकोलॉजिकल डेवलपमेंट की फील्ड में जाता है ये. एंड ही कंटेंड दैट सस्टेनेबल इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट इनडिस्टिंग्विशेबल फ्रॉम द टोटल डेवलपमेंट ऑफ सोसाइटी. आप समाज से इसको अलग नहीं कर सकते हैं. एंड कैन नॉट इफेक्टिवली बी एनालाइज सेपरेटली एज सस्टेनेबिलिटी डिपेंड्स अपॉन द इंटरेक्शन ऑफ इकोनॉमिक चेंजेस with social and cultural changes and ecological transformations. अगर आपकी सरकारें बदल जाती हैं, नीतियां बदल जाती हैं, तो ग्रोथ रेट अफेक्ट हो जाता है. सोसाइटी में लोगों की थिंकिंग बदल जाती है. लोग सोचते हैं कि जो पहले ही था, भारतीय कल्चर में ये था कि हमको नेक कमाई करनी चाहिए और नेक खर्च करना चाहिए. लिविंग बाय द ऑनेस्ट मीन्स एंड स्पेंडिंग द ऑनेस्ट वे. आज वो है. People find in India that since 1970s, when the second generation came after independence, they were more corrupt. This is our past generation, or most corrupt. What is the position today? This is the third generation. Even then that is flourishing. कमाई कहीं से होनी चाहिए, हमारे एस्पिरेशंस पूरे होने चाहिए. और लोगों के घरों में इवन जो आईएएस और आईपीएस ऑफिसर्स बनते हैं, आप अखबारों में पढ़ते हैं कि 100 करोड़ और 1000 करोड़ किसमें है. और मंत्रियों की बात तो छोड़ ही दीजिए कि कितने कितने करोड़ लोगों के पास नोटों के बंडल पड़े हुए हैं. इज इट एन ऑनेस्ट मीन्स? इज इट बाई ऑनेस्ट मीन्स? तो आपकी नैतिकता जब भंग हो जाती है तो उसका प्रभाव आर्थिक पर भी पड़ता है, समाज पर भी पड़ता है. इसलिए सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट को आप अलग नहीं कर सकते हैं कि जो लोगों की विचारधारा है उसमें परिवर्तन क्या हो रहा है, समाज के लोग किस प्रकार से सोचते हैं, कैसे कमाई करनी है, कैसे खर्च करना है, कितना कमाई करना है. आज से कुछ जनरेशन्स पहले भारतीय संस्कृति में ये बात अपरिग्रह की बात कही जाती थी. गांधी भी कहते थे, ट्रस्टीशिप की बात करते थे कि जो तुम्हें दिया गया है ये भगवान का दिया हुआ है, तुम्हारा नहीं है, ये यू आर जस्ट ए ट्रस्टी. वो हमारे नैतिक मूल्य बदल रहे हैं. तो आप पाएंगे कि हमारे इस सारे समस्याओं की जड़ जो है वहाँ भी जाती है, हमारी नैतिकता में भी जाती है. हाउ वी अर्न एंड हाउ वी स्पेंड. आप जानते हैं इकोनॉमी की डेफिनेशन क्या है? हम इकोनॉमिक्स में अपने बीए के स्टूडेंट को सबसे पहले दिन बताते हैं, इकोनॉमी इज ए सिस्टम बाय विच पीपल गेट अ लिविंग. लोगों को कैसे आजीविका प्राप्त होती है, उसी यही व्यवस्था जो है वर्ष व्यवस्था कहलाती है. और यही कौटिल्य ने भी कहा, मनुष्यवती भूमि इत्यर्थ तस्या पृथिव्या लाभ पालनोपाय शास्त्रम अर्थशास्त्र. मनुष्यों से भरी हुई ये जो वसुंधरा है, इसको देखभाल करने का जो काम है वही अर्थशास्त्र है. दूसरी परिभाषा उसने दी, मनुष्यानाम वृत्ति इत्यर्थ. मनुष्यों की जो वृत्ति है वही चीज जो हमने बताया, किस प्रकार आप कमाई करते हो, किस प्रकार खर्च करते हैं, यही इकोनॉमिक्स में पढ़ाया जाता है. हमने यहाँ पर दूसरा एंगल जोड़ा है, नैतिक रूप से कमाई करना. ये एंगल ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है. और आप पाते हैं कि भारतवर्ष में, दूसरे देशों के बारे में हम ज़्यादा नहीं जानते, ये नैतिकता का पतन हुआ है और तमाम समस्याएं उसकी वजह से उपज रही हैं. इस विषय को मैं आगे ले जाता हूँ. इसने बार्बियर ने इसीलिए कहा कि बायोलॉजिकल सिस्टम, इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम एंड सोशल सिस्टम, ये तीनों एक साथ में चलते हैं. और सस्टेनेबिलिटी का कोई भी डिबेट बिना इन तीनों को साथ में लिए हुए नहीं चल सकता है. इट इज़ नॉट यूनिडायमेंशनल. मार्क्सिस्ट इकोनॉमिस्ट सोशल सिस्टम की बात करते थे और इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम की बात करते थे. और मार्क्सिस्ट रिवोल्यूशन आया 1848 में, जब दास कैपिटल लिखा मार्क्स ने, उसने कहा कि ये जो पूंजीवादी व्यवस्था है ये शोषण की व्यवस्था है. पूंजीवादी शोषण करते हैं, मोटे होते चले जाते हैं, मजदूर कमाई करते हैं, और ये मोटे होते चले जा रहे हैं। इसलिए इनको इस व्यवस्था को समाप्त करो। ही कॉल्ड फॉर द ब्लड रिवोल्यूशन, ही कॉल्ड फॉर ए ब्लड रिवोल्यूशन से कहा कि पूंजीपतियों को समाप्त करो, इनको, ये धन तुम्हारा है और तुम्हारे पास होना चाहिए। एंड ही गेव एन अल्टरनेटिव सिस्टम ऑफ कम्युनिज्म, जिसमें सारा कुछ जो है वो सरकार के पास रहेगा और जनता के पास रहेगा। एंड दैट सिस्टम स्टार्टेड। जिस समय रशिया में ये सिस्टम आया 1917 प्रॉब्ली 1914 1917 ये सिस्टम शुरू हुआ बोल्शेविक रिवोल्यूशन के बाद से, और वो सिस्टम 85 के आसपास आके फेल हो गया। हम दो व्यवस्थाओं को देख चुके हैं, पूंजीवादी व्यवस्था को देख चुके हैं जो शोषण पर आधारित थी, और उसके बाद में कम्युनिस्ट सिस्टम जो किस प्रकार का शोषण कम्युनिज्म में था। देयर वाज नो फ्रीडम, कोई आज़ादी नहीं है, कोई चॉइस नहीं है, हर आदमी स्वतंत्र रूप से विचार जीना चाहता है। जब ये सप्रेस की गई तो कम्युनिज्म भी टूट गया। 1991 हमारे देश में भी उस समय चेंज आया, और 1991 में मनमोहन सिंह और की गवर्नमेंट थी, नरसिम्हा राव की, और हमने ग्लोबलाइजर चीज़ों को लिबरलाइज किया और विदेशी कंपनियों को अपने यहाँ बुलाया है। I stop this debate on sustainability. Now I come to the United Nations. What the United Nations is coming, what they are doing. The United Nations in 1983 created a World Commission for Environment and Development, later known as Brundtland Report। ये हम आपको पहले बता चुके हैं, इंटरजेनरेशनल इक्विटी की बात है। और हम नज़दीक आते हैं, in the year 2000 the United Nations presented Millennium Development Goals। आप जानते हैं इसे, मिलेनियम डेवलपमेंट गोल्स फॉर 15 ईयर्स। 2000 में ये बनाया गया कि मिलेनियम डेवलपमेंट के हमारे उद्देश्य होंगे, लक्ष्य होंगे, जिनको हम 15 साल में पूरा करेंगे। वो हैं क्या गोल्स? इरेडिकेट एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी एंड हंगर। हमने आपको बताया कि पूरी दुनिया में 17% लोग, मोर देन 80% धन उनके पास केंद्रित है, इनकम एंड वेल्थ। ये बहुत पहले पढ़ाया था हमने अपने स्टूडेंट्स को, और उनको बताया था कि रटने का सीधा तरीका ये है, 17 एंड 67 को आप साथ में ले लो। 17% ऑफ द वर्ल्ड इनकम I point you about this extreme income inequality in the distribution of wealth। वो आज भी आप पाते हैं, आज भी जो सरकार के विरोध में बातें होती हैं, कारपोरेट्स के a few corporates, the whole wealth of the nation is in the hands of a few corporates। ये आज भी उतना ही ज्वलंत प्रश्न है। Who will think about it? और कौन सा मॉडल सही होगा, ये आप विचार करिएगा। यहाँ पे इरेडिकेट एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी एंड हंगर, अचीव यूनिवर्सल प्राइमरी एजुकेशन। ये बात 1947 में ही कही गई थी। अगर हिंदुस्तान में प्राइमरी एजुकेशन को सशक्त बना दिया गया होता तो आज देश की ये दुर्दशा नहीं होती। कोठारी कमीशन ने 1964 में कहा था इस बात को, या 66 में, कि गवर्नमेंट को अपने टोटल बजट का, टोटल जीडीपी का मोर देन 6% देना चाहिए। और आप जानते हैं 1922 में कितना है ये, 2.9%, समथिंग लाइक दैट। आज भी वो टारगेट अचीव नहीं हुआ कि सरकार को एजुकेशन पर कितना खर्च करना चाहिए। इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि सरकार जो है कभी भी ध्यान नहीं देती इस बात के बारे में कि हमारे छात्र जो हैं एजुकेटेड हों, क्वालिटी एजुकेशन उनको मिले। देन प्रमोट जेंडर इक्वालिटी एंड एम्पावर वीमेन। वी टॉक अबाउट जेंडर इक्वालिटी, reduce child mortality, improve maternal health, combat HIV, AIDS, malaria and other diseases, then ensure environmental sustainability and global partnership for development. Global partnership for development. We are today even talking about global partnership. In 2012, the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development, also known as Rio 20, it is very famous, Rio 20 or the Earth Summit, was held at the 20 years follow-up of the UNED। The Sustainable Development Goals are a collection। उसके बाद फिर आता है, ये 15 साल बीत गए, उसके बाद came the Sustainable Development Goals। Sustainable Development Goals are a collection of 17 interlinked objectives designed to serve as a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet। शेयर्ड ब्लूप्रिंट, ये हम सबका दायित्व है। सस्टेनेबिलिटी ऑफ द प्लेनेट अर्थ, सस्टेनेबिलिटी हम सबका दायित्व है, केवल सरकार का दायित्व नहीं है, कुछ संस्थाओं का दायित्व नहीं है, हम सबका भी दायित्व है। हाउ वी बिहेव, अभी मैडम भार्गव कह रही थी आपको सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी के बारे में, चीज़ों को बर्बाद मत करिए। पहले वो आता भी था ये जल ही जीवन है, इनको टपकने मत दीजिए, चीज़ों को बर्बाद मत करिए, डोंट वेस्ट, रीयूज एंड रिसाइकिल, और ये आज हो रहा है। ये आए गोज 2000, अब प्रेजेंटली यही चल रहा है। एसडीजी बहुत फेमस वर्ड है, एसडीजी 1 इज एंड पॉवर्टी। मूलतः बात वहीं आती, गरीबी का निवारण होना चाहिए। इसका मतलब कि 200-250 वर्षों के ग्रोथ एंड इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट के बाद भी गरीबी गई नहीं है। और आप ये मान लीजिए गरीबी कभी नहीं जाएगी और बेरोजगारी भी कभी नहीं जाएगी, केवल इसमें कम ज़्यादा होता रहेगा। हमने पढ़ा था अखबार में भी, आज से 70-75 साल पहले पार्लियामेंट में इस बात की पंडित नेहरू थे उसमें प्राइम मिनिस्टर, वो कहा गया कि महंगाई बहुत बढ़ रही है और गरीबी बहुत, महंगाई की बात कहा उन्होंने, महंगाई बहुत बढ़ रही है। और यही महंगाई की बात लाल बहादुर शास्त्री के रिजीम में भी थी, यही महंगाई और अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट के बाद इंदिरा गांधी के रिजीम में भी थी, यही महंगाई का फार्मूला आज भी चल रहा है। जो सरकारें विरोध में होती हैं, जो सरकार के विरोध में पार्टियां होती हैं, वो कहती हैं कि बहुत महंगाई है, बहुत बेरोजगारी है। जब वो पावर में आ जाती हैं तो फिर दूसरे लोग कहते हैं कि ये सरकार ने बहुत गलत काम किया, और आज भी वही चीज़ बनी हुई है। ये आप समझ लीजिए कि इस प्रकार की बीमारी है। ऐसे सर्दी जुकाम बुखार हमेशा से रहा और हमेशा रहेगा, लेकिन व्हाट शुड बी द लेवल, कितना इसका लेवल होना चाहिए? 2%, 3%, 5%, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, व्हाट शुड बी द एक्सटेंट, दैट इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट। जो लोग निकम्मे हैं, जो काम नहीं करना चाहते हैं और जिनके पास की आमदनी जो है व्यर्थ में खर्च करते हैं, हमने उन झुग्गी झोपड़ियों में देखा है, जो बाइयाँ घरों में बर्तन मांजती हैं और 1000-2000 रुपये कमाती हैं, उनके आदमी जो हैं शाम को शराब पीते हैं, जुआ खेलते हैं, कोई काम नहीं करते हैं। तो ये improvident expenditure pattern, income is there but the improvident expenditure pattern is one of the causes। क्यों पावर्टी है? और तभी हमने कहा कि इस प्रकार की पावर्टी हमेशा बनी रहेगी, बट द लेवल शुड बी गो डाउन। 2%, 3% से ज़्यादा इस तरह का नहीं होना चाहिए। सो इज द केस ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन। एक पॉइंट हम आपके स्टूडेंट्स को और बताना चाहते हैं, क्यों महंगाई नहीं घट रही है डिस्पाइट ग्रोथ। इसको आप जॉबलेस ग्रोथ की बात करते हैं आज। श्योर 5 minutes वी टॉक अबाउट जॉबलेस ग्रोथ। इन माई क्लास आई टेक क्लास फॉर 2 and 3 hours, not less than 2 hours and 2.5 hours। सो मैं थोड़ा सा बहक जाता हूँ, लेकिन आप बहकाना भी आपको ज़रूरी है। नाउ लिसन, महंगाई कभी समाप्त नहीं होगी। और जो प्रेजेंट पैटर्न है आपका, हमारी इकोनॉमी के 3 सेक्टर्स हैं, एग्रीकल्चरल सेक्टर, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर एंड द सर्विसेज सेक्टर। आप आज देखेंगे कि इस वक्त इकोनॉमी की ग्रोथ जो है 53% जो है वो सर्विसेज सेक्टर से है। इनकम इज राइजिंग। सर्विसेज सेक्टर में जो आदमी अच्छी डिग्री लेके निकलता है उसको लाखों रुपए का रोजगार मिलता है, और जो इनफॉर्मल सेक्टर में है तो ये जो मिसमैच है, कमोडिटी प्रोड्यूसिंग सेक्टर इज लैगिंग बिहाइंड। जहां उत्पादन होता है कमोडिटी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में और एग्रीकल्चरल सेक्टर में, वहाँ उत्पादन तो ज़्यादा नहीं बढ़ रहा है, लेकिन इनकम बढ़ रही है। इकोनॉमिक्स का एक स्टूडेंट, मामूली स्टूडेंट बता सकता है दैट इज व्हाई देयर इज इन्फ्लेशन। जब तक आप इस मिसमैच को ख़त्म नहीं करेंगे, इस इम्बैलेंस को ठीक नहीं करेंगे, तो ये माना जाता है कि जो टर्शियरी सेक्टर ड्रिवन ग्रोथ है इट इज़ नॉट सस्टेनेबल, और इसकी वजह से ये महंगाई बनी हुई है। देयर शुड ऑल्सो बी लिमिटेशन। अगर हम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर को स्ट्रांग नहीं करेंगे और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग डेवलपमेंट नहीं करेंगे तो ना हमको रोजगार मिलेगा, ना महंगाई रुकने वाली है। दिस इज द मिसमैच एंड बैलेंस, इसको भी आप डिस्कशन में लाइए। We have talked about all these points of gender equality, etc., and these systems. Now a few minutes about this topic of this debate. I skip the points of Paris Agreement, Paris Climate Agreement, now those things. Just 2-3 minutes. जस्ट रिसेंट डेवलपमेंट्स, ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ हुआ नहीं है इधर। इन द एरिया एनर्जी जनरेशन, यूज ऑफ कोल केम इनटू फोकस एंड अल्टरनेटिव सोर्सेज ऑफ एनर्जी आर बीइंग डेवलप्ड वर्ल्ड ओवर। प्रोडक्शन ऑफ सोलर एनर्जी, आप देखिए क्या चेंजेस हुए हैं पिछले कुछ वर्षों में। प्रोडक्शन ऑफ सोलर एनर्जी, विंड एनर्जी, टाइडल एनर्जी, बायोमास एनर्जी एंड हाइड्रो पावर जनरेशन बिकेम द एरिया ऑफ इंटेंस रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट। आज हम अपने घरों में सोलर लगवाते हैं। न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी हैज ऑलरेडी बीन यूज्ड इन द कंट्री। नाउ वी यूज एलईडी बल्ब्स, रिप्लेसेड द येलो बल्ब्स फॉर लाइटिंग टू रिड्यूस वेहिकुलर पोल्यूशन emission. Work for the is done for the ethanol mixing with petrol. Use of electric vehicles, and the vehicles run by on battery. And the areas where much work has been done in solar panels production. एयर कंडीशनर्स आपके जो आज के हैं वो इन्वर्टर बेस्ड हैं, जो कम एनर्जी यूज कर रहे हैं। आपके कार्स और ये सब चीज़ें, ऑटो रिक्शा सीएनजी ड्रिवन हो गए हैं। ये डेवलपमेंट्स हुए हैं जो बहुत अच्छे हो रहे हैं और इधर लोगों का ध्यान है। सो ये सारा प्रॉब्लम हुआ कहाँ से? जो इन्वेस्टर्स और जो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स थे उस मॉडल ऑफ डेवलपमेंट के, what is the responsibility of the entrepreneurs, the investors? Here comes the point of this debate. A sustainable development goes for the shared responsibility to save the humanity from disasters and annihilation. It also asks for the consumption, reducing consumption. देखिए दो चीजें हैं। भारतीय संस्कृति कहती है कि ईमानदारी से कमाओ और कम खाओ और ज्यादा इकट्ठा मत करो। वेस्टर्न फिलॉसफी कहती है कि ज्यादा पैदा करो, ज्यादा इनकम, मोर एंड मोर कंजम्पशन। यही कीन्स भी कहता है एग्रीगेट डिमांड कम हो गई, इस वजह से प्रॉब्लम है, और इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि मैक्सिमाइज कंजम्पशन। तो ये दोनों अलग विचारधाराएं हैं और इट इज नॉट सस्टेनेबल। जब तक लोग भारतीय संस्कृति को अडॉप्ट नहीं करेंगे, लेजिटिमेट कंजम्पशन, मिनिमाइज कंजम्पशन, वांटलेसनेस की परिभाषा जेके मेहता ने दिया था, आप अपनी आवश्यकताओं को सीमित नहीं करेंगे, तब तक ये दुनिया सस्टेनेबल नहीं हो सकती है। एंड द लास्ट फ्यू वर्ड्स आर अबाउट द सोशल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. Social entrepreneurship is fundamentally the idea that business thinking and methods can be harnessed to help address social problems. जो हमारे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स है सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स की ओर ध्यान दें, क्योंकि उन्होंने ही इसको शुरुआत की इसी समस्या की। दे आर द एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, जिनकी वजह से ये समस्या खड़ी हुई है, तो उनकी भी जिम्मेदारी है और हम सबकी जिम्मेदारी है, कंज्यूमर्स एंड प्रोड्यूसर सबकी जिम्मेदारी है। देयरफॉर शेयर्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की बात कही जा रही है। Fundamentally, the idea that business thinking and methods can be harnessed to help address social problems in ways that foundations, non-profit and government cannot. जिसको अभी तक ये सरकारें नहीं कर रही थी, ये इन्वेस्टर्स नहीं कर रहे थे। The idea of social entrepreneurship can go beyond business models and permeate the spiritual realm. ये अध्यात्म की ओर चला जाता है, जहां हमने कहा कि अपनी आवश्यकताओं को कम करिए, कंजम्पशन को कम करिए, लेजिटिमेट कंजम्पशन होनी चाहिए, लेजिटिमेट कमाई होनी चाहिए। वी गो इन द रियल्म ऑफ स्पिरिचुअलिज्म। एथिकल बिहेवियर की बात हमने कही आपको, वी गो इन दिस डायरेक्शन। दिस टर्म वाज फर्स्ट यूज्ड इन 1953 बाय एच बोवेन इन हिज बुक सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज ऑफ द बिजनेसमैन। द वर्ड केम इन वाइड स्प्रेड यूज इन 1980s and 1990s. Prominent individuals associated with social entrepreneurship include the name of Muhammad Yunus of Bangladesh, who propagated the idea of Grameen Bank and microfinance that changed the entire thing. as regards the social purpose, the Indian Companies Act 2013, ऐसा नहीं कि भारत में कुछ नहीं हुआ है. Section 135 provides of the Companies Act the provision regarding the corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility requires the companies, every company falling within the prescribed threshold of paid-up capital and a net profit is required to comply with the provisions of CSR. It mandates that such companies to engage in CSR activities and spend at least 2% of their average net profit from the 3 fiscal years. लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी में एक बहुत बड़ी बिल्डिंग बन गई है, वो कॉर्पोरेट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की वजह से ही बन पाई है. तो ये डेवलपमेंट्स भी यहाँ हो रहे हैं. नाउ द कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क. At present, the world is at the critical juncture. We are at an emergency situation. Where there are 2 threats for survival. One is nuclear war, and the second is global warming. Science and technology, whereas put humanity to the pinnacle of development, unheard of in the past history, they also produce weapons of mass destruction. जैसा हमने अभी चर्चा किया आपको, अगर वो mass destruction, whereas the any irresponsible decision of an authoritarian state leader can destroy everything in no time. एक परमाणु बम जो उस समय गिरा था हिरोशिमा और नागासाकी पर, कितना डिस्ट्रक्शन किया था उसने. और आज टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट में इतना ज़्यादा है, इस तरह के न्यूक्लियर वेपन तैयार किए गए हैं कि इसमें आदमी की भी जरूरत नहीं है, ड्रोन जाकर के गिराएगा उसको. तो फॉर डेवलपमेंट टू बिकम सस्टेनेबल, दिस इज द लास्ट लाइन. For development to become, she is getting impatient. For development to become sustainable, the greenhouse gases emission has to be minimized. Changes are required in the ways of production, consumption, and the lifestyle of the people. Adopt green growth and circular economy. Much of the damage has already been done to the nature, and now the time has come to mend the ways if humanity wishes to survive for long. Thank you for listening me so patiently.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing that rich experience with us. Moving on, I now invite our special guest for the morning, Dr. Dilfuza Jabarova. Dr. Jabarova is an associate professor at Institute of Genetics and Plant Experimental Biology, Academy of Sciences of Uzbekistan. Ma'am has done her PhD in plant physiology and biochemistry. Her specialization and areas of interest include plant microbe interactions, biological control of plant disease, plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, soil microbial ecology, plant physiology, and plant nutrition. Needless to say, ma'am has published several papers and has organized and participated in a number of conferences. She has headed a number of projects, the most recent one being development and implementation of methods of cultivation and propagation of ginger, and please correct me if my pronunciation is wrong, ma'am, curcuma plants. Ma'am is also a member of several professional organizations like American Society of Microbiology. She has received a number of fellowships like DBT, TWAS, postdoctoral fellowship, DAAD German Academic Exchange Program Research Fellowship twice, and UNESCO China co-sponsored fellowship in 2010 and 11. She has also been a recipient of several awards, the most recent one being Global Scientist Award in 2023, Global Recognition Award, International Scientist Award on Engineering, Science, Medicine, Award for Excellence in PGPR Research, FEMS Young Scientist Award, Women in Scientist Award. I think we will spend the rest of the afternoon here. If I have to further go into ma'am's publications and participations, we are indeed honored to have you with us, ma'am. Dr. Jabarova, please give her a huge round of applause.
I'm sorry, it has become a practice of mine to interrupt the lectures here, but I would like to welcome Professor Svetlana, Professor Tanya, Professor Tetiana Lyzekova, all of them from Ukraine. Welcome, professors, And now may I request Professor Dilpuza, please.
Hurmatli xonimlar, janoblar, olimlar, professorlar va talabalar. Bugungi men bu ajoyib konferensiyada qatnashib turganimdan juda ham xursandman. Buning uchun o'zimni chuqur minnatdorchiligimni professor Diyoda Bargaga va doktor Amidga o'zimni chuqur minnatdorchiligimni bildiraman. Good morning, gentlemen and ladies, professors, scientists, researchers, and students. My special thank you, Professor Jyota Bhargava and Dr. Amir, for inviting me a guest honor and guest speaker for this conference. I share my experience with you when I was in India. In 2020-21, I conducted my research work in India Agricultural Research Institute, Division of Microbiology. In last year, I also got a fellowship, this INSA fellowship. I conducted my research work, also lecture in the Shobit University and also Baba Saheb Ambedkar University. Recently this year, I participated more than 14 international conferences in India. I am very so happy participate also many conferences in India because all conferences in India were organized this professional and wonderful in India. Then however, I am very happy to participate in the International Conference on Sustainability of Social Entrepreneurship, Building a Better India Vision 2050. Based on their science and technology, will develop and solutions for problems will be found. Population explosion with increasing problems of climate change have put excessive pressure on agriculture sectors and pet ever more. In course of food exercise, excessive pressure on agriculture sectors to find ever more. Then I hope climate change already imposed serious threats on the quality and fertility soil, leading to various issues such as soil erosion, degradation, salinity, water stress, and low nutrient and microbial activity. This conference organized on the theme of innovation, climate change adaptation, and mitigation, biodiversity conservation, and ecological restoration and sustainability, agriculture and food security, directed to delegate to the development of science and new technologies. This conference will embark a serious and of responsibility in the all participants. I congratulate the organizers for their effort at this organizing conference and I wish a great success. Thank you very much for attention.
Thank you, Dr. Dilpuza. And now coming to an end, may I very respectfully call upon my principal sir, Dr. Singh, to bless us and say a few words to us. And then we shall stand up for the national anthem. Sir.
डॉक्टर साहब ने धन्यवाद देने के लिए बुलाया। सभी को धन्यवाद कि आप लोगों ने इतना पेशेंस के साथ बैठे रहे, कार्यक्रम को सुना। थैंक यू सो मच।
सर ब्लेस करने के लिए बुलाया है, लेकिन अभी आप जाना चाह रहे हैं तो let us all stand up for the national anthem, please. Shall I start ऐसे? जन गण मन अधिनायक जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्कल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे थैंक यू Students will avoid the technical.
Students are requested to move for technical sessions. The guests are cordially invited for refreshments outside. Thank you so much, everyone.